Son, what does a gopher build? Can you say it? Well, who knows? A really rich doctor said you were a bummer.
And I think you don't know algebra.
No, we're talking science, bud. The science of what? Is that a tiger? One of your friends promised me I could flick you in your face.
Absolutely, you may not do that.
Hit him in his cringy smirk, for real.
Say any cereal name.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
You're like people in the 12th century.
Why'd he say it like that?
You're a formulated
He's
pickle
worse than
popper.
that. He's a storm cloud.
I don't like you, dude. And there's a tiger. Oh, that's it. You two guys sent the tiger.
I
What?
did
No.
not me.
What
I mean,
tiger?
I mean,
that is reprehensible.
okay, yeah. Okay,
Brad?
I'm a horrible person.
Brad, I'll report you to Nadine. I just want your leg bones to be okay. I brought the tiger. Really, you got somebody on the organ now?
Hey man, you're gonna pay for dinner. You're gonna pay. No!
I figured that was a good intro since there's been some talk about Kevin McCarthy at least in the Twitter spheres, people talking about how he released.
Trying to shut down he's not allowing the budget to pass, basically.
I mean, he released everybody to go on vacation for the weekend and without getting a budget resolution or a debt ceiling resolution. Sorry, it has nothing to do with the
Memorial
budget.
Day.
Yeah, it's not the budget. It's the debt. They want to raise the debt ceiling again to be able to continue their using the budget that they have.
Like it fucking matters. Like, I mean, there have been how many times in just recent history where they just suspend the debt ceiling entirely and just say, okay, we're just gonna do whatever the fuck we want. Like it's a
imaginary line. Like, yeah.
It's like whose line is it anyway? The debt ceiling is the money's made up and the debt ceiling doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, they just keep printing and just keep going.
It's all monopoly money.
I love when they always like, oh no, the government's going to shut down. I'm like, okay, who cares?
It was really
like
funny.
Less taxpayer dollars.
I remember a few years ago when they actually did, like they let it roll over past whatever the deadline was, and like the government
they were
shut
insane.
down, and then the very next day the stock market just like shot up. It's like, is it any coincidence that the government shuts down and then the stock market like spikes? Seems like the two things might be related. Maybe we should just keep the fucking thing shut down permanently and see how
those numbers up, like
how the market works.
There was a story the other year when I can't remember when the last government shutdown was, but I remember reading one. It's like, oh no, the national park rangers aren't going to get paid. I'm like, yeah, but you can still go out to the park and walk around the woods.
Yeah.
How's that affect me?
Right. It's not like the park is closed. It's just the rangers aren't getting paid. And the rangers weren't even like not working.
A lot of them got back pay anyway. Like
right.
Oh,
that was the really crazy thing on some of that was some of those like public worker unions in like DC, they got more in back pay than what they would have gotten if they had actually been working anyway. Like that was what was so fucked up about it, is like they're just gonna fuck our eyeballs out one way or the other.
No, they can't do that, Corey, because it's a public funding project. You like if you spend federal dollars on the project and it's a public service, then they can't shut it down. Like they just can't, because it's supposed to be open.
And even if they did shut it down and you still go out there, who's going to stop you?
Yeah, what federal employees do they have? Like,
right, nobody's working. Nobody's getting paid. It's like my favorite episode of Rick and Morty, season 3, episode 1, where they changed the value of the intergalactic currency from 1 to 0, and then one guy's like, "I'll do it for money." Like, nobody's getting paid anymore. Nobody's going to work anymore. It's like, if the park rangers aren't getting paid, what's their incentive to? I mean, I guess you're going to have some like, what was the officer? Remember the big Jack dude during the Louisville riots? Officer Clegane is what they called it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you're going to get a couple of park rangers like that who are going to be real gung ho about cracking somebody's skull for being in the park when it's closed. But those are few and far between. And really, those dudes probably aren't doing a lot of cardio, so you can just run off into the woods and
they ain't gonna catch you. But I mean, like, this is significant because, like, Kevin McCarthy is actually demanding that they reduce spending, and the Democrats won't even do that. Like, they don't even, they're balking at that. Okay, let's reduce spending year over year. He didn't even have to say it had to be, this upcoming year. He said, like, year over year. Basically, there needed to be some resolution in place to say that year over year they're going to reduce spending. He didn't even categorize it necessarily as this year, from what I gather. So, like, this year they could pass the exact same amount, but the next year they have to pass less in a budget. So, like, how is that a bad thing? Like, how are they? Why are they so? I mean, I know why, because they just want to continually raise spending. They think, like, okay, spend more, like, just keep the money printer going. But, like, if you want the debt ceiling to go up, and if you want to be able to do that, wouldn't you, like, if you want to be able to still print money, would you not be like, okay, well, we'll reduce it a little bit? Like, you could even guise it under, like, okay, we're going to make cuts on the things that, like, the Republicans don't want. Like, that's what is going to be our priority, and then we're going to promote the things that we want. I don't see how is that such a loss for them, like, to just not have infinite budget raises every year.
Have you ever heard some, like, left winger who's big on all the social programs and stuff, like, explain how Keynesian economics actually works and why this is a good idea, and like, I mean, it's complete gobbledygook nonsense, but they've, like, somewhere in their broken brains, they believe that if you just keep spending more money, somehow it makes things
circulates
better.
Well, they think, here's what they think is, they think if you budget for this is essentially the line of whole logic, is if you have public funding for a budget for, like, a new statue or something like that, then that creates jobs, and then those jobs are going to pay out to the employees, and then the employees are going to pay out to they're going to spend their money however they want to. They're going to buy things and consume in the economy. So essentially, by funding that public project, you're doling out some money to average people who are then going to spend it in the economy, and then it's going to circulate. And the more spending that you can do, and the more you can get people to spend money, then the kind of the show keeps going on. That's the gist of what they believe.
It's amazing how Democrats are so, like, ardently opposed to trickle down economics, but that's the entire like basis of their economic plan, just like in a slightly different way. Like, it's the same thing, just instead of it going to corporations, it goes to public run entities that are
private public partnerships. Like they're okay with private public partnerships. Like, okay, this private contractor is going to be sign on to a public contract to then build this statue or whatever, and then that is creating or build this new building or whatever. Like, I've been following the A's are moving. The Oakland A's are going to move their team from Oakland to Las Vegas, and just in watching how they're doing that, you discover a lot of things because they're talking about how the public funding is going to work. And so it's like, oh, they're going to get tax credits and they're going to get all this kind of stuff to be able to move there. And there are these incentives built into the agreement that they're doing with the state and with the local municipalities. So that's sort of how they think that it's going to work, is like you help fund these projects. They're gonna, taxpayer is gonna take some of that burden, but then it's gonna be redistributed in other ways through the the consumers, like actually paying taxes in the local area and that kind of stuff. But it's just funny, like you say, like they expect it's gonna like be spread out based on the public funding of a project, not necessarily like just to the employer not being taxed out the wazoo and then paying out their employees better.
Well, and at the end of the day, they know it's not going to actually get spread out to anybody. It's going to go into their donors' pockets, and then their donors are going to turn around and send it right back into their pockets. So, like, it's like the whole Ukraine thing. Like, we know where the money's going.
Well, it's like all the unions, they have to send money to the DNC.
Yeah. Let's see what we got on the docket for. Well, speaking of money changing hands and the economy, did y'all see this? Target loses $9 billion in a week.
It's up to 15. Like it's up to almost 16. Now that's market cap. Like what a lot of people are like, they're losing actual $9 billion. No, it's just the market cap of the valuation of the company. I mean, but it's still significant because that means that 15 billion of investor money is being pulled out of Target, and that is pretty significant. But Target's still like a 100 plus billion valuated company. So like,
jump in. I'm sure they've created a black market out of this. I need to get some of those Satan loves trans kids pins and put them on eBay.
Just go buy out the Target, like
buy out the stock. Yeah.
Like, okay, you're gonna hide these, so I'm gonna hoard
going to the moon.
This is the new NFT. Like this.
Well, so they're backing themselves into a similar corner as what Anheuser-Busch did with the whole Bud Light thing, in that they have told stores to take the displays and everything from the front of the store and to move them to like other places. So they're like getting moved to the back of the store or like off to like somewhere where it's not as high traffic of an area or something like that. So now they're going to end up pissing off. And I mean, I not to defend Target, but I've said this consistently. Target's always been fucking gay. Like, they've always done this shit. This isn't new. They've always had pride shit. Yes, some of it has gone a step or 700 further than what they had previously with some of the stuff. But Target's always been incredibly faggoty and very like pride homo friendly. It's not like this is anything particularly new. If you like just happen to walk into a Target for the first time and saw all of that shit, it might be kind of a little bit of a culture shock for you. But this isn't anything out of the ordinary for Target. But somehow it was the kid stuff. I think that like. Well, I mean, they always had gay kid stuff. Like, they've always had
but I think
with rainbows and pride bullshit on it and stuff. Like, none of that's particularly.
I think it mostly unique. Was the like they had the tuck friendly or whatever swimsuits, and they had all the Satan stuff too. I think was a little bit too far for for everybody. They were like like, okay, it's. Get the rainbows, whatever.
It's not their fault. That's the only place you can find an AC/DC t-shirt for cheap.
We can't force the Satanists to only shop at Hot Topic. Like, they should be allowed to go into other places that have the lights turned on.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think it's funny that they're making the exact same mistakes that the Anheuser-Busch did, and it's sort of getting a similar short-term reaction.
I think they did one thing better though, is that they said we're still committed to supporting like LGBT or whatever, so that like for them as their brand, that's probably going to be better for them. Like if they say because the thing that like Anheuser-Busch did was they basically split it. They had both sides, mad, and that's the worst situation to be in, is to make both sides mad. But I think with Target, like their consumer base, like as long as they say that they're still supporting it, they're not gonna be too mad. Like if they had said like, we want to be respectful to both sides or whatever, then I think that would have probably got more backlash.
Well, also,
Well,
like how many times has there been a boycott on Target within the last 10 years? I can think of like 3 other times, and people will forget about it. They get goldfish memories.
Yeah, the Anheuser-Busch thing seems to be a little more
Sticking,
withstanding, because it's because that is kind of their brand.
It's a consumable product. Like that's another thing. Like Target is an entire shop.
Right.
Like a consumable product like Anheuser-Busch, like that's something that if you boycott it, it really hurts their bottom line, because like they need you to. But like Target, if I need to buy like a pack of batteries and I'm like right there at the Target, would I really drive all the way out of my way to go to some other store instead of just going to the Target and buying a pack of batteries? I mean, am I really going to? I mean,
I was looking at an article when this outrage, the Target outrage stuff first started really getting drummed up a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. I was looking at some like statistics and like sales numbers, and a lot of that stuff it's really just for show. Like they don't sell a lot of that stuff. They especially don't sell a lot of it in stores. Like the majority of the sales on that stuff is online anyway. Like it's the display model. Like it's their public image of, hey, look, we're supportive of this thing. And like I said, I mean, that's always been Target's shtick. So it's not like it's not like people are going to boycott buying that stuff and that's somehow going to like hurt Target's bottom line. It's not a huge contributing factor to their bottom line anyway.
I mean, people they're counting on people to go there, buy groceries and stuff like that. Like they're not counting on them to like, oh, this is our key component to what we, how we make money. Like those aren't key components to how they're making that. Those are like to get people in the door. Like, oh, well, I'm gonna buy the rainbow merchandise, and then I'm also gonna buy my groceries here or whatever. That's what they're trying to entice people to do. Like it's not their like bottom line.
And how many people? I'm about to sneeze. How many people, are actually going to, at least how many people that are offended by this are going to Target to buy like clothes? Like you're not buying overpriced clothes from Target if you're in the demographic that's pissed off by this anyway. Like that's probably not where you're doing a lot of your clothes shopping, right? Like,
that's the Walmart shopper.
One thing that bugs me about like some of these videos I've seen online is like these people that are filming like TikToks and stuff, and they're going in and harassing the employees. It's like, look, man, I'm making
some of those are old though.
Like, I know, but it's still pretty lame. It's like, come on, that person had nothing to do with their whole marketing crap. You're just going in there to try to get a viral film, and you're just like screwing with, just a normal average Joe,
Right. It was like when I worked at Lowe's, people would get pissed off because we didn't carry a certain thing. It's like, I don't control what we stock. Like you can yell at me all you want. It doesn't change the fact that we don't stock it. Like
getting mad corporate.
Getting mad at the employees
accomplishes
exactly zero.
Hey,
it just makes them resent you even more. I promise.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest disconnect for that's the funny thing about the more conservative consumers. Like they get mad at the employees, they don't get mad at the corporate, and whereas like the people who are like the woke people who are trying to attack these corporations and stuff like that, when they do it, they call the corporate office, they tweet at the corporate entity, like they do all these things toward the corporate company. They don't go to the bottom level, like the Dodgers thing, like that's been a recent thing too. Like they went to the Dodgers, like corporate specifically or whatever, to make sure that they could get the LGBT theme night or whatever, like that they were trying to push. That's what they were like, okay, well, we're gonna go straight to the corporate and talk to them and make sure that they know that we need to be allowed to do this kind of thing.
It's funny because think of your average Dodgers fan, Mexican and Catholic. Like,
I
come on.
mean,
yeah, they're really playing to their demographic of fans.
well, they're even mocking the Catholics because the ones
Yeah, I saw the nuns. Yeah,
they're having these like quote unquote like gay nuns or whatever that are supposed to be like they're inviting them to be for the LGBT thing, not whatever. Like that's the weird thing is like you're really gonna go after that particular demographic like because of I don't get it.
hey man,
But-
they buy a ball ticket once a year.
I mean, it's not your season ticket holders. I mean, what's so funny is that none of this they ever look at the actual like broad consensus like and I know that doesn't matter in the way that we think it does because they're trying to push a particular like narrative or whatever. But still, you would think that you would go like, okay, well, I literally just want to appeal to the wider audience. So like that's what the movies always say all the time. They're like, oh, we want to appeal to the wider audience. Well, why do these other companies not want to appeal to the wider audience and get some of these people who they even if they don't like them, why don't you want them to spend money with you? Like,
And I don't I guess I don't understand the appeal to the wider audience argument thing. Like,
well, it's about expanding.
Alphabet,
It's about expanding your customer.
The
base.
Alphabet Brigade is a very narrow part of the of your target demographic or of your potential customer base. By just like, it would seem like by just not coming out as objectively anti-gay, you're still, you don't have to plaster rainbows and trans flags all over everything to appeal to them. Just make, have options for them available that you don't have to smear it in everybody's face and piss the actual wider demographic off. Like Bud Light with that chick saying that they had a bad image of being fratty and redneck or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's literally who's buying your shit. Like you're going to cut off 85% of your purchasers to appeal to the other like maybe 3%.
Well, it's because they think that they can increase. So they think it's just going to be a net increase. They think if like, okay, we appeal to these, fringe weirdos, then we just expand our customer base. We're not cutting off any part of our customer base. Like we're just going to add to it. Like they think it's additive, just like with the like Disney with the new like Little Mermaid or whatever. Like they think like, okay, well we just race swap and then Little Mermaid, and then that way we get more Disney fans. I mean, as if people weren't already like all the people who were going to be fans of Disney weren't already fans of Disney. They think that they can somehow like eke out just a little bit more by like expanding it and adding that sort of like, okay, well we added a race swap like Ariel and Little Mermaid, so that's going to expand our reach and our customer base at this point. Like,
excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
I mean, that's pretty much it at this point.
It really is. I've thought about like growing my hair back out and shaving my beard, but I don't need to do that. I don't have to conform to traditional beauty norms. Why can't you just love me for who I am?
There is that one dude that claims to be like a woman and it literally just has a full-on beard. And
which one?
I mean, there's one that went on Dr. Phil.
Yeah, there's several of them, and some of them even have like prominent. I'm pretty sure we watched the North Face commercial the other day. Like,
oh, I don't remember if we watched that one on the stream.
I don't remember if we did or not. I know we did it on Peddling Fiction, but yeah, the North Face one, like that dude has a mustache and everything. Like, how is this? How do women how are women not getting pissed off and considering this a mockery of being a woman? Like, you would think after years of fighting to get equal treatment, now they're being pushed to the back of the line again by men. Like, I mean, it's the meme I share all the time. Like, the patriarchy always wins. It's just it's insane.
This is the one that I was talking about. Let's see.
Oh yeah, what? Oh,
this one.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Matt guy. Yeah, that dude's definitely trans.
Yeah. I mean, clearly, like, yeah, look at his face. I mean, definitely. I mean, he's got the slick back hair and everything. But no, this one, this there just has the full on beard. Like, oh my gosh,
Going for the gay Jesus look, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks like a modern, like, theater kid version of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Should do the acting for that movie.
Where does since you pulled that up, where does the Daily Wire fall on the extremism
Chart?
chart?
Best.
Yeah, let's where.
Oh,
I would
forgot.
say they're on the same tier. They got to be on the same tier as PragerU for sure.
PragerU, InfoWars, Turning Point USA. I don't see the Daily Wire on that thing.
It's like a
Man,
progression as it goes up of cooler and cooler tattoos the higher you go.
Breitbart. Did Turning Point USA not even, or did the Daily Wire not even make the far right radicalization chart? That's impressive.
Why?
Because they're because it's run by a Jew.
I mean, unironically. I mean, don't you know that Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring they pay off the feds, like, so that way they don't get on these lists. They're like, look, we're gonna say some stuff that's we're gonna have Matt Walsh will say some stuff that's a little bit edgy, but, like, the rest of us, we'll just keep it above board. You guys leave us alone.
Is that green flag? Is that the Kekistan flag?
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness. Oh, there's the 3%ers. Oh, they're not as bad as. Okay, all right.
Isn't one of these the, like, Azov?
No, Daily Stormer. I mean, I could kind of see that maybe. Who cares?
These are the media organizations. These aren't
Yeah.
like the. Wait, but they have the swastika. So, like, you'd think that they would have the, like, Azov. Like,
no, they're cool.
I forget.
Right. As long as you've got the blue and yellow to go along with it, you're doing
Yeah.
fine.
the blue and yellow flag, and then the Azov.
Sorry, we know you're on our side, even if you're on the right wing extremist side. I need to find that. I need to find that Swedish site again. Like, so there's a huge. I know I've talked about it too many times. There's like a huge, like, alt-right movement going on in Sweden because of all of the immigration problems they've had, and like Sweden. They talk about Sweden was always talked about with their, like, social programs and stuff as like this socialist success story. Well, in 2020, when all of the lockdown stuff was happening and Sweden was not locking anything down, just for shits and giggles, I looked at, like, what it would take to immigrate to Sweden. Holy shit. Like,
They're very strict. Very strict.
Like, you want to talk about closed borders. It's like you got to have, like, 4 references and a job lined up and a residence and a minimum. Like, you got to have a 6-figure income. Like, you ain't just coming to Sweden. All right.
Mhm.
Like, if you can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're ready to show up and be a contributing member of society on day one, you ain't getting a fucking sniff at it. Except that they then open their borders up and start letting all these refugees in, and it's completely, like, wrecked a lot of what had made Sweden successful in what it was doing. And so there's been a huge, like, alt-right, national nationalist movement in Sweden, and there is a Swedish news site that is, I mean, it's like borderline QAnon. It's some awesome shit. It's amazing.
Like National Examiner kind of.
I used to check it like every couple days just to see some of the stuff, because I mean, they are like, it's time to run all these fuckers out of the country. Like they're on one, and I need to find it again. It was like Red Dot or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was impressive. I can't believe that's not somewhere on this on this list. I guess because it's not in the U.S., they don't actually consider it to be far right radicalization. But it was something. I was impressed.
I'm gonna hop off here, guys. I'll try to hop back on if I can. I gotta get in the truck and get going.
Oh, did you see I wish I had noticed it earlier. Did you see he sent the thing with the explanation of Keynesian economics?
Oh wait, you did?
Hang on, I've got it. I'll pull it up. I need to turn this into an intro clip. This is
It'll be fun. Norm, thanks for dressing
Oh
up.
yeah.
Yeah, listen, man. Congratulations, as the 100th time that joke's been done tonight. But I also want to tell you, I have a bet with Daniel Kellison, a rather large figure.
Daniel Kellison, who put this whole thing together,
Yeah.
way over his head.
He says you
did
can.
it.
He says you can explain what the fuck Jash is.
Josh is
Pay up, fucker.
Josh is a comedy collective, a United Artists, if you will. Uniting myself, Reggie Watts, Michael Cera, and Tim and Eric. And what do? We do whatever we dream up. We shoot it, and it goes on there. We can fail, we can do well. It's total freedom.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Got me. Norm.
I mean, I've never heard the word collective.
I know, but
Oh, Norm. If only somewhere up there, Norm is having his best time.
I like how he manages to throw a Trotsky reference in there. And like most of the people who are actually
sitting there, they have no clue what's going on.
Commie fans of like communism and stuff, like a typical Sarah Silverman fan. They probably have no idea what he's talking about, who Trotsky is, and like nothing. That's the amazing thing about those types is they don't know jack shit for anything about anything that they pretend to talk about or to pretend to know about. Let's see what we got. On a lighter note, maybe. Minnesota just made it legal for cyclists to go through stop signs without stopping. I always wanted a good excuse to run over a cyclist, and I guess I need to go to Minnesota, where all I got to do is just, go when I'm allowed to, and hope I catch one of those fuckers running through a stop sign. I have it on good authority from the least gay cyclist that we know, Tyler Yankee, that this is actually just a thing to keep. It's not like a green light to just blow through stop signs. Like you're still supposed to treat it as a yield, and if there is oncoming traffic, then you do need to stop. But it's so that they don't have to.
Yeah, so they don't have to stop at the stop sign and then wait to go cross like a car does, because it does interrupt the flow of traffic if you're like waiting behind a cyclist, and then they have to get up to the stop sign, stop, and then they have to go even if there's nobody there, right? I mean that I get it, that logistically that makes sense, but you just get annoyed by the cyclists because they just like want to hog the road and take up and do all this nonsense.
Minnesota just became the latest state to legalize the Idaho stop. That's what I call it too whenever I don't stop at a stop sign. The Idaho stop, which doesn't require bicyclists to come to a full halt at a stop sign, provided no other traffic is around. I mean, I'm from the country. Like a four-way stop means slow down if you don't see anybody else around.
Yeah, roll it. You just roll it. Like,
That's right.
That's why, you know, sometimes I have to be careful because I roll it almost every time. But like if you ever like around here, sometimes the cops they'll be making their rounds, and so like I have to be careful though to make sure that I don't roll it whenever they're. I've seen them get somebody before, like they just rolled it and they're like. Oh, yeah.
I lived in Arkansas, and the route that I took to work every morning, it was back roads. There's literally nothing, but there's one spot that had a traffic light. Didn't have a four-way stop. It had a fucking traffic light, and it didn't matter if there was nobody else for miles around. As I approached this traffic light, it would turn red every day. And I finally just said, fuck it, and started running it. Like, it would turn red, and I just blow through it.
And then the cop was there.
No, and then after a while, it stopped turning red on me. It was like the light learned or something. Like, because there was nobody else on this road ever at 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, it's just me. And every single day, it would turn. It must have been on a timer or something.
They are on a timer. That's the big problem to me, and this is where like I get. Like a lot of people get confused, like they get mad about the smart city stuff. I don't mind the smart city if what it's doing is learning like when to have a green light and when to have a stoplight and that kind of stuff. I'm not opposed to that. A lot of people are like, well, that's too much technology and all this junk, but I don't know. I'm okay with it if it was actually improving the driving experience, but like that's not what I know. That's not what a lot of the smart city stuff is going to be. It's going to be surveillance and this kind of stuff. But if that was what it was geared toward, I would be okay with it. Like just to be able to fix those kind of problems instead of just being on a timer.
We studied traffic patterns and found that drivers move the fastest through yellow lights. So now we just have the red and yellow lights.
Come on, stay yellow, stay yellow! Man, I'm making record time. Only I had someplace to be.
That's what we need.
Just the red and yellow lights.
That's right. No need for green people. Around here, we were on our way to Stephanie at a doctor's appointment yesterday. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I'm slowing down because there are 3 cars sitting at a green light, not moving." I'm like, I don't know. What do you want me to do? Just barrel into them? Like these people around here, they will run reds all day, but if it's green, they will sit there for a full minute and a half. Like.
It's probably because at least around here, I know a lot of people when they get stopped at a red light, they might like check their phone or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're stuck there for like a minute, like reading a message or something like that.
So Indiana has like the hands-free thing, like if you're like on your phone while you're in the car and the cops see you, then they can pull you over and give you a ticket. Mm-hmm. So the hands-free method that I've seen most frequently is they have it on speakerphone, but they're still holding it like they're talking to it like this. I'm like, you look like a fucking retard talking to your phone like this while you're driving. I'm like, at this point, just put it to your goddamn ear. Like, Indiana, I tell you what, I mean.
Is Kentucky any better?
Well, no. Depends on the part of Kentucky. Like if you're in the right part of Kentucky, it's like if you're up in the Golden Triangle area, as it's referred to, like Louisville, Frankfort, Lexington, that area. Holy shit, those people are terrible. If you get down in the like more rural, there aren't a lot of traffic lights or anything like that. So like people who are on their phones are usually just in the ditch. So at least they're out of the way. They're not like holding traffic up or anything.
What did you think about when you were driving through Alabama?
Alabama's actually not. Granted, we weren't like getting out
on the interstate. So,
yeah, we were just on the interstate. It was fine. Alabama wasn't bad. Mississippi, like the
Mississippi's always bad.
You know, like the stereotype of Southerners just being real like easygoing and laid back and not in a hurry to go anywhere or do anything. Yeah, that's the definition of Mississippi drivers. Like everybody's a Sunday driver all the time. Like they're on a on the on ramp, like coming to supposed to be like speeding up to merge into traffic, and they're just like slowing down and come to a stop, pull over onto the shoulder and wave people on, like, come on, I'll get over when I'm like, motherfucker, I'm gonna run you over. Get the hell out of my way. What's wrong with you? And see, I loved New Jersey because God, everybody in New Jersey is a fucking asshole, but you are getting places. Like you got to be prepared to do 90 everywhere, including like in a one lane, one way road in town. Like you got to be ready to do 90. And you should also keep your gun handy because there's going to be a couple people that wave theirs at you. And if you wave yours back at them, then they calm down. But but you are getting places like that. I loved that shit. I mean, my ex, we were actually talking about it the other day. She was like, I hated New Jersey. It was terrible. She's like, I got a gun pulled on me. I was like, yeah, I pulled my gun on people all the time. That's the problem. You weren't carrying when you were driving in New Jersey. Like you have to respond in kind, and then they understand like y'all are kindred spirits, and we can drive.
I mean, you flash the piece, and then they're like, okay, like.
Yeah, just hold it up and wave it at them. Be like, yeah, I got one too, motherfucker. And they're like, all right, let's go. I did run a guy into all right, maybe I shouldn't tell him myself. Whatever, fuck it. So we were coming into town, and it narrows down from 2 lanes into 1 lane, and then like the parking lane on the side of the road where like it was a residential area. And this dude was trying to get in, and he had been like getting up on me for a while, so I wasn't letting him in, and I ran him into the back of a car that was parked. Like, I should have kept going. Fuck you. I didn't hit it. That's not my fault. You should have planned your merge better. That's on you, not me.
Oh, that's how people are here when they merge, is that they're like they'll go right up to all the way to the end, and then they want to just like slam in, and I'm already in the lane. I'm like, dude, sorry. Like one guy nearly clipped me in the back. Like he just nearly sideswiped me.
That's why you wave your gun at him, then he back off. I saw an article somewhere that actually said that that's the proper way to do it. That's the way you're supposed to do it. And I'm like, whoever wrote that was a fucking retard and should have their license taken away. Like, no, that's not the.
There was some kind of like, wasn't it like some kind of traffic analysis or something like that, like where they were saying like that it's better to do that because it does allow the flow of traffic, because you're supposed to let that person in, and then that person is supposed to like interweave into the traffic, and you just keep doing that, and a car can go, and then a person can go in, and basically like that'll keep the flow of traffic going.
Nah, fuck that. Like, there've been signs for 2 miles that said that the right lane is closed. You should have been getting over at some point before we got to the actual closure of the lane. Don't be an asshole.
But that's the worst. That's actually the worst part of driving here, is that the people would just run all the way up to the end and then just jet in, like they go all the way to the dead end and then just dive head first. It's like, dude.
Speaking of assholes, well, today is it's dentist weekend officially kicks off today. So everybody's supposed to change your profile picture to the dentist chameleon, and your name needs to be some variation of dentist trolled you, and we're all going to be dentists for the weekend. But if you don't want to do that, you can take the Chinese approach, and you can impersonate police officers and taunt black people on social media.
I was surprised that they like what was, I mean, like I've said that China was doing ops, but I didn't think they would be doing these kind of ops. Like I know Chinese, you know, they have on TikTok, they've been doing these ops and everything. I didn't know they would go to this extent of just like, let's blatantly try to do this thing to target and try to specifically showcase exactly what they were trying to do.
Mitchell Sherman moved from Minnesota to teach English in China. A kindergarten teacher in the northeastern city of Lianging. He started posting selfies and lifestyle app Zhaoshu in February. Zhongshu, okay. That's when Sherman, who is black, started experiencing online racist attacks. Sherman started receiving insulting comments and direct messages from a number of accounts on the platform. These accounts had profile pictures depicting the Confederate flag, unidentified white police officers from the U.S., and even Derek Chauvin, the former officer convicted of killing George Floyd. We could talk about that too, I guess. One comment said, "Please go back to America as a slave black man." Racist ass Chinese kids. And they say, I mean, I guess white supremacy really is becoming multicultural. Amazing.
Oh, we just outsourced it to the Chinese.
Like everything.
Oh, you didn't outsource it. No. As an expert on Asian racism, there was no outsourcing.
They got that honest.
They come by.
I mean, that's the thing. We didn't outsource it to Mexicans either. Anybody that's familiar with that history, they don't get along very well either. Maybe it's not white supremacy. Maybe it's just like anti-blackness, like across. It's a multicultural anti-blackness is what it is.
Oh,
and that's not even taking into account the Uncle Toms.
I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not. I know in China there's like places where they won't allow black people in certain buildings. But have you seen have you seen all the Chinese cities that they built in like Nigeria and other like countries over there in Africa? Like I wonder if they're doing that same type of stuff on the actual continent.
I wouldn't be surprised. They aren't they don't seem to be particularly welcoming of anything outside of their own thing. Like, I mean, it's why all of the American movies that are put out in China in movie theaters and stuff, like there's the American version and then there's the Chinese version. Like
I was talking about the Little Mermaid movie. Like apparently they showed the like poster for the one in China, and apparently they took that, like they just made her have a blue filter, like so that you can't see like her actual like
can't tell that she's black.
Some of those posters are so funny, like the whole like photoshopping Finn and the Star Wars poster and making them smaller. Yeah, I understand that. But how the hell are you going to work your way around the Black Panther movie? Like we just put a mask on him. It's like, yeah, but like, once you start watching the movie, it's like, wait a sec.
Well, I wonder if they don't have like a duplicate. I haven't actually seen the Chinese versions of these films, but I wonder if they just like put a mask on him, like for some of the like for all those scenes where he takes his mask off. Like in the U.S. he's got to have it on because that's kind of the whole point of like displaying him. Or
have you actually seen any of the edit the scenes that they only show in China? Have you seen any of those? There's one from Age of Ultron, and like you could see this being like, if you want to relate it to like an old patriotic movie, it's like, hey, Mr. Reagan, you have like a scene with Ronald Reagan. It's like, oh, you're a true patriot and everything. There's a scene, I think it's Tony Stark, like called like somebody in the Chinese government, and they're like, oh, great, very, it's all cheesy. It's like, oh, the Chinese government respects you, Mr. Stark. It's like, thank you. It's like really ham-fisted and hilarious if you actually look those up.
I'm pretty sure this was the Chinese version that got shown.
That boy, he couldn't cover, a pass to save his life. I remember the Titans. I'll never forget.
Let's see. Oh, what?
Gosling.
There was something else I was going to talk about with the China thing, and I can't now. I lost it. I got distracted finding a Ryan Gosling as the Black Panther because I knew I'd seen that. Like apparently that was like some fan art type of a thing that they like because you had all of the race and gender swapping of characters being done. So like that was a fan art thing that somebody did, was putting Ryan Gosling as the Black Panther. Oh yeah. Speaking of the George Floyd thing that they talked about in or Derek Chauvin thing.
What's the anniversary? They're close to it. The anniversary, right?
Yeah, it's getting close.
3 years. No, it's officially.
Oh, it
yesterday.
passed.
Yeah, 3 years yesterday. So
I don't know. I don't celebrate.
I only knew because I saw all the tweets about it.
Well, and this isn't new. Like, this information has been out for a while. Then I feel like
here's the screens. This is fentanyl.
So I theorized when the verdict was first passed down on Derek Chauvin, that they would put him somewhere where he would be safe. Like they're not gonna put him in Gen Pop in like a legitimate prison where he's at risk of getting stabbed or something. Like they're gonna put him somewhere that he's safe, and they're just gonna kind of like stash him away for a couple years until everybody kind of forgets about it. And then they're gonna real like under the radar come back and review the case and let him out, and nobody's gonna remember that it was a thing. I still think that's what's gonna happen. Like I think in 2024, 2025, they're gonna like quietly just let him out of jail.
Oh no! If they did that in 2024 during the election season,
it'd probably be a 25 thing.
Is that DeMar Hamlin's going to have his car wreck and die? Prediction.
Hey, training camp hadn't started yet.
True.
Gotta see him actually try to play this next year.
I will believe that he'll play a snap when I see him play that first snap. And until then, I'm just waiting for the car wreck.
Still in the conspiracy camp.
Right. People die in car wrecks all the time. It's not uncommon.
Yeah, it's more dangerous than flying. You're right.
As Jay is driving.
Oh no! You gotta knock. Wait, no. There's probably no wood furniture in your car.
No, it's a lot of crumbled Cheetos and goldfish. Kids.
Oh, speaking of killing people or attempting to kill people, or maybe not killing people. Actually, I think this was actually attempting to kill people. Backlash says damn you. Backlash says Park Run women's record is revealed to be held by a transgender attempted murderer who was jailed for trying to stab UK athletics official to death in a row over competing as a female.
Pretty metal.
This is like the most impressive headline ever. And sometimes I wonder why the Daily Mail has so much in the headline, and then when you read it, it's like, holy shit, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot to unpack. So we've got a women's record holder who is actually a trans woman, aka biological male, who also attempted to murder a UK athletics official to be allowed to compete as a female by stabbing this motherfucker. Like this trans violence is really a problem. Way more so than right-wing violence, for sure.
I mean,
like, in the good old days, we used to get results, but nowadays, we've lost our crown.
I mean, if they're not killing themselves, they're trying to kill other people. Good God.
Damn, they're taking it from different angles. Yeah. You're on to something there.
Taking it from different angles in multiple ways, I would assume.
Oh.
Speaking of, also, I'm obviously last night was my first night back to work, and I'm not fully prepared. I should have piggybacked off of China straight into Disease X, which what does Disease X stand for? Nobody knows, but it's coming, and with it will be the next global pandemic. Scientists warn, and this was wasn't this scientist in China?
Yeah, what they're doing is they're basically saying is like there is going to be another COVID type disease and we need to be prepared for it whenever it comes. That's essentially all that this it was saying. Like, they're just saying like, hey, at some point they're going to be another COVID type crisis, and we're just going to have to be prepared for it again. It's like, okay, is that not what we were going to do anyway? Like, were we not going to prepare for this anyway?
Thought that was the point of Event 201. Oh, wait, maybe that was a little more. They're supposed to be preparing for the next thing, right?
Or the swine flu scare, or the bird flu scare, whatever, MERS, all that stuff they've been trying. COVID was the first thing to pick. Yeah,
Zika.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's an overrated running back.
Oh, where's he going to go?
Elliott.
I have no idea.
I say he's a free agent, isn't he? They let him walk.
Wait, so they let him go? Let's see.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, when you got Tony Pollard, why would you?
Yeah, I mean, Pollard's been good. And Zeke wasn't that great last year, but
he comes with a hefty price tag. I mean, he's good, but when you've already got Pollard, he's not that good. Like, especially if they're actually going to make something out of Dak Prescott, they're going to have to invest cap space into doing other things with that team. Like, I mean,
you need at least one or two more receivers, probably.
Right? Who was your top receiver? Like, CJ Lamb was your top receiver. Like, I mean, he's good, but he's not that good. He's not Des Bryant in his prime type of good. Like, you've got to add weapons.
Yeah, they need another receiver, probably another tight end that they can, that he can actually throw to.
Oh, Jason Witten finally retired? That dude played for like 30 years.
He retired. I think he retired like a year or two after Romo did.
Yeah. Well, did he retire and then come back, then retire again?
And so I know he was there with Dak for at least the first year or two, but yeah, he's been out for a minute.
Zeke may have to go to like the Rams or something because they're hurting for running back for sure.
They don't have cap space. They've just got a metric fuck ton of dead cap.
Yeah.
Didn't they wager a lot of it on that trade for that? I can't even remember that quarterback's name. Oh, Stafford.
The Rams did what they intended to do. They
won a championship.
They put everything together. They made one big run, and doing that nuked their franchise for the next probably 6 years. But who was it? Somebody was talking about that when we were doing a clock management show. Like, as somebody who was like a long time St. Louis Rams fan, they were like, "This is what the Rams ownership does." Like, they want
to they want to win a championship. They blow the load, and then
they take that '90s Marlins approach to it. Like,
I was gonna say that's what the Marlins did in the '90s.
Put everything together, pile it all on for one big run, and then just blow the whole thing up. And then
just say like, okay, we'll rebuild
8 or 10 years later, after you've
rebuild,
all of that, then you rebuild, you do it again, get you a championship, blow it all up. It's cool for the fans in the 1 year that you're going to win the championship, but then it sucks in the
all the interim. Yeah,
6 out of the other 8. So
building a dynasty is overrated.
Well, I mean, look at all the big dynasties anyway. Like the Spurs had their dynasty for 20 years in the NBA. The Patriots had their dynasty for almost as long. Like the Yankees, Red Sox, like all of these big dynasty types of franchises. Eventually, the things that made the dynasty work fall by the wayside, and you end up going into the tank anyway. So why not be strategic about it? Why not just like build it all up, get you one big run, and then blow it all up and save money?
Go for the target.
What? Did he say go full retard?
Yes.
Damn it.
Mike sucks.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.